Just a collective effort. I think the biggest thing is came out, and you knew with this team they were going to come out and have a little fire to them, right? Especially after those 2 wins, right? And the biggest thing was just staying with it. Our first half wasn't perfect, wasn't pretty, and but understanding we've been here, right? We've been here before. Staying with it, stay collected. Start the third quarter off the right way. They respond, we respond. Like there were so many times where you could just allow it to just affect you, right? But just continuing to stay with it as a collective, and everybody did a really solid job tonight.
You've been talking about it since Dennis got here, his big game experience, these kinds of moments. How do you characterize the impact that he made for you guys?
It's funny, I said to him, he said something, I'm not going to say what he said, but he spoke at length probably for about 2 or 3 minutes at halftime just about what he saw and what we could have done it better as a group. And then after the game, we were like, damn, I guess you were just talking to yourself, like, you know what I'm saying, and got himself going, right? And, the biggest thing is when you have a leader like that, guy who's been there in those moments, to stay level-headed as a collective, and he really led the charge, especially in that fourth, right? But just being everywhere. And we look at the 19 points, but I mean his defensive presence, just being around, just being there, causing havoc, and then making them pay, especially when they're denying James and denying myself.
Okay. Donovan, Kenny said that he views this game as a step in the right direction for you guys in terms of mental toughness. Do you view it like that? What do you think that this does for you guys?
Yeah, I mean it's easy to you got down, what we get down, 12, 14, right? The boos, the fans feeling like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to kind of, allow that to affect you, right? But we've been here, right? And I said it after games 3 and 4, like we didn't play well, and we just continue to stay with it, right? Then definitely is a step in the right direction. It wasn't perfect, but it was solid. You know what I mean? And this is the playoffs. It's not going to be easy. As much as we would love that to be, and you got to give Toronto a lot of credit. They don't stop. You know what I mean? And they're a really good team. And for us to go do what we did tonight was great, but it's going to take even more on the road. So definitely a step in the right direction, but we definitely still can be better.
How important was what Evan was able to provide you guys in the second half?
Big time. And I spoke to him a little bit at halftime. It's just like, bro, go. And a lot of it was him, obviously on the boards, the defensive presence, but just offensively, just not being deterred by anything, which was huge. Him and J.A., right? And obviously, there are moments where we can get them the ball, but then there's also moments where they're swarming, right? And I think you saw it a few times where we throw it, and now there's 8 guys in the paint, right? 5 guys, in the paint. You know what I mean? So trying to, I told him, like, hey, sometimes you just being the initiator, you initiating our offense, just playing, right? And I think that's some of our best offense. And you give him a lot of credit. He stepped up, and now we got to do it again.
Kenny mentioned Dennis was going off in the fourth there, and you and Evan trying to put y'all back in.
Hell no. I mean, when you got to, it's about the group, right? It's not about, and he asked me and Evan, and we were just like, no, why? You know what I'm saying? This is working. We're getting stops. And I think the biggest thing about this group is it's about the collective. It isn't about one person or 2 people. We know who we are, and we know what Dennis is bringing, right? You ride the hot hand. You don't make a sub, you know what I mean? And I think that just speaks to, what we have as a group. And I feel like every single person 1 through 15 would say the same thing if they were in that position, right? It's about the group. It isn't about each individual. So when you got guys in a group that's really closing the game out in a sense, not in a sense, but closing the game out, you stick with it no matter who's out there on the floor.
What was a big key start of the fourth quarter on defense? I think he held them to 0 for 12 to start. They were 7 of 28.
Yeah, I mean, our intensity, we got stops. Just showing the crowd, making it I think the biggest thing is making it tough, right? And I think that's been consistent throughout the entire series. We've been guarding them solid. I think it's been our offense at times that's kind of hurt us. I think, even game 4, right? They scored 95 points. We're doing a solid job, and even when we're not, we find moments to continue to get the stops when needed. And in the fourth quarter, we got it. JT hits a big 3 to tie it. Then Evan hits a big 3, I think, to put us up, and we just kind of rallied around that. And even when shots didn't fall for us, we were still finding ways to get back and communicate and talk. And that's ultimately what did it.
He doesn't shoot too many of them, but Evan with a pair of threes.
Man.
Just how much of a lift does that give you when you see
I mean, big time. The timely threes, right? Like, you know, and he's ready for those moments. He wants those moments. He works, you know, relentlessly on his three ball. And those are big shots for us for sure.
Donovan, it wasn't just Dennis off the bench. 43 points from everybody that played tonight. How big of a lift is that? And going forward, how important will it be for that to be more consistent like that?
I mean, it always helps, right? I mean, at the end of the day, too, you know, the three of us, myself, James, and Evan, you know, 19, 23, 23, like you're going to get offers from somewhere else. And that was the best part about it. I love Dean Wade having 10 shots. I love that, right? You know, obviously Dennis, Jalen Tyson stepping up big time in the fourth. We're denied, and he hits a big three, right, setting the tone. Sam Merrill hitting some big shots. The step back he had in the first half, huge. Dean Wade being himself. You can go down the list, right? And I think the best part about it is just everybody's trying to find their way. And even if the shots didn't fall, I had no doubt in my mind that we were going to continue to defend. And I think that's where it starts for us. But obviously it helps when you shoot 50 from the field and 50 from three.
Dennis had 11 in the fourth. The starters had 11. And what's it like you're usually that guy, right? And everybody's watching you. Like to watch somebody else.
Man, that's what this is about. That's why you make the moves you make for guys like that, for moments like that. You know what I mean? There's times where, hey, you know, Dennis has got it going, and you ride the hot hand. And it wasn't just his scoring, right? It was just him attacking downhill, getting to the paint. Now they got to guard him differently. Now other guys are able to get, you know, certain looks and certain shots. You know, and credit to him, right? Doesn't really play game 3. Game 4 plays a little bit, and then comes out ready for game 5. All right, like it's just that's the mentality we want to have 1 through 15 or 1 through 18, excuse me. And that's big time.
Mike, whether it's what you said earlier about letting Dennis stay in the game, telling Kenny you're not ready, or even late in the offensive sets, letting James or Dennis kind of run the show done. Do you feel like you would have been able to do that earlier in your career, kind of let the other players take that lead?
No, this isn't I don't want you to take this as a shot. You know what I mean? I know how people can be. I think with the weapons we have, I think it's more, and also it's also on me too to like be able to take a step back. But obviously when you have a Dennis and Evan, a J.A., James, right, like it definitely helps. So, and honestly, they're playing me to where they can't even touch the ball. So sometimes the best, and I've told you this before, I've said this before, like sometimes the best offense is just going to stand over there, right? Like because now it's 4-on-4 and all that space. You know what I'm saying? So there's a trust level that I have and we all have with this group. And like I said, it's the playoffs, man. It doesn't matter if it's me, it doesn't matter if it's Jen, it doesn't matter whoever it is, as long as we're getting quality looks and figuring it out. And that's what you know, saw throughout tonight. And that's what you've been seeing. And I think in my career, I think this is a time for me where a sign of growth of being able to be like, hey, but it also helps when you have a former MVP over there and you know what I mean, and guys are doing their thing as well.
And looking ahead to game 6, how confident are you that some of the shots and really the good looks you've got in the last couple of games haven't fallen?
For me specifically or the group? I'm just going to keep taking the shots. Like, you know what I mean? They don't fall, they fall, right? But just continue to get good looks. Take care of the ball. Do whatever it takes to win. Like, this is what it's about. You know what I mean? And I know who I am, right? Y'all know who I am, and I think the biggest thing is just how do we win the game? I don't really care about nothing else. You know, this is our opportunity, and we have an opportunity to close the series on the road. It's going to be a tough environment. It's going to be loud. They may go on a run or whatever, but, like, for me, it's like whatever shot's there, continue to take it. I had some ones that went in and out tonight, right? But I don't really care. It's like, hey, just continue to take the shots that I'm given and make the plays that are needed and be efficient.
You have real big goals like you have, like this team has, and then you end up in a series in the first round and it's 2-2. How does whether it's a mindset shift or like how do you go away from your bigger picture where you want to be and deal with the pressure?
Well, I don't even think we were there after games 1 and 2. I don't think it was like, oh, all right, here we go. Let's get ready for whoever, right? Like, you look across the league and especially the East, right? You look at New York, you look at, and I'm not comparing, but I'm saying, like, this is every team in the playoffs. Like, this isn't just something. We swept the Heat last year, and then look what happened. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not about, like, let's get the easy. It's about, man, like, this is a hell of a team. They're well coached. They play well as a group. And I think for us, we're just locked in on every second, every possession, every moment, and we're not worried about that. Like, we haven't gotten there. We got to take care of this first. And we didn't sit here and think, we're coming out just 4-0. I've said this. We weren't going 16-0. So, like, this is a test. This is a test, the same test we've been talking about all season. And we responded tonight. Can we do it again on Monday or whatever we play? So, sorry, I don't even know what day it is. But no, I don't think our minds are like, oh man, like what's going, like, you know what I mean? That's a month and a half away, right? We got to focus on what's in front of us right here. And even when we lost those 2 games, I said in the press conference, like, hey, just got to protect home court. Now we did that, and now we got to go get one on the road.
What you said about not even being able to touch the ball, that reminded me of the defenses you were seeing earlier this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like Darius was out, Ine was sending like 3 guys at you.
Yeah.
But to flip this a little, you're up 3-2, you're going on the road, and you, after 2 big games, in games 1 and 2, like, you haven't been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a part of you that kind of looks forward to, like, that big Donovan? Or, you know,
To me, that's selfish. Like I said, Joe, like I've done this at a high level in the playoffs. I've scored a lot of points, but to me, I could score 0. And if we win the game, we advance. Excuse my language, I don't give a damn. Like, you know what I mean? I'm getting solid looks. I'm going to take those shots. My biggest thing is, can I rebound? Can I make the right plays? Can I be in the gaps? You know what I mean? That's what matters most to me. I think that's for everybody else to kind of be like, oh, here comes a big game. Like, I don't care. And I care, but like what I'm saying is what matters most is winning the game. And, I'll take a night like this for myself when it was solid, you know what I mean? And as long as we're winning games, who cares, right? This is about the group. This isn't about just the Donovan big game show. Like, you know what I mean? We've been there before. Like, this is about how can we win as a group? How can I help the team win? Whether it's 19, it's 0, it's 50, like, whatever it takes. And if I think that